Hey gamers, welcome back to episode 2 of Life Plus Gaming. I'm your host Jordan. To my right I have my co-host Seb, and today we have another super exciting episode on the cards. We have a special guest from regional Victoria. His name is Jake. Jake is a local artist we've had the pleasure of meeting in the last couple of weeks, and today we're going to hear his story. Jake specializes in digital art. He's been an artist since he was growing up. I'm not going to get too deep into it right now because I want to save that part for Jake, and I know you've got a lot to say. But thank you all for tuning in. Let's get into another episode. Cool. So, to start, I think to start this chat, right, one of the things that is super paramount to me about this is the gaming industry or the pop culture industry, right? It does not exist without art. It has been, before we had video games, we had manga and we had anime and we've had all sorts of different types of art in every form, from movies to Marvel to DC. And I know personally one of the things I like the most about gaming is art. I'm a very visual person. I've played lots of World of Warcraft growing up, so I've been surrounded by digital art and things like that. So the fact that you create this, Jake, is really, really cool. But before we get into that, introduce yourself, mate. Who are you? Why do you do art? Talk to me about your life. Talk to me about gaming. Talk to me about art. Give me a brief rundown.
My name is Jake, or Ramnarok, usually online, sometimes Quack, which
Quack.
is, yeah. A lot of my WoW friends know me as Quack. I don't know, I've done art for a long, long time. Funny story, I probably really started to get into art when I was about, I think, 3.
Yeah.
My mum used to have a white leather lounge, and she bought like a few $100s worth of like Nutrimatic lipstick. Like, oh, Jake's been very quiet lately. And she found me on the back of the couch drawing in the lipstick. So I've always been a bit of an artistic, so yeah.
They were your first crayons. Yeah, 100%.
It was too white, that's the thing.
Get a white leather lounge, but she's like, nah, it should be alright. She learnt quickly it wasn't.
So, from lipstick on lounges to today, and we're going to get some of the art. We're gonna chuck it on screen, so you can get an idea of the grade of art you produce. But how did you go from lipstick on lounges to this?
A very long story. Not a very happy story most of the time, honestly. But even from when I was in high school, I was actually offered like a full scholarship to one of the best art schools in Japan. But that didn't pan out because I got ill. Had my first sort of mental breakdown when I was 15 at school. Wasn't very good. I was sort of stayed at home for a few years, just never left. I was eventually diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia.
Wow.
It's pretty intense.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
I sort of always drew during that period. I feel like my art is part of the reason that I got through that sort of time period, honestly. I've always sort of done it for myself, as a sort of outlet to sort of escape sometimes, almost. I played a lot of WoW, like a lot.
A lot of same. I can relate to that.
But sort of always kept drawing, slowly, sort of improving. There was quite a few years where I didn't honestly do much.
And how many? Sorry, Seb.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you start drawing on the iPad, or what did you used to draw with? Was it pencil and paper?
Yeah, pencil and paper.
Yeah,
And how many years are we talking?
I probably switched to digital. Would have been about 2010, 2011 maybe. But before that, it was like pen and paper. Stuff like that.
And lipstick.
Yeah, lipstick.
On couches?
On couches. The best canvas. Anyone looking to get into art, grab some lipstick and you're set.
Yeah, I sort of fell in love with digital because it was easy in terms of like I could control Z and have layers, and it was easy to sort of experiment and change stuff on the fly, whereas pen and paper is a bit more planned.
We have to start again.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you grew up with a generation of having that.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
if you're my age, no. It's all pen, paper, rubber, eraser.
I remember those.
Your age, Seb. You guys had smoke signals, didn't you? And like
Well,
charcoal paintings on
cave
walls.
cave paintings, exactly. Ride my dinosaur to school. Exactly.
Old Flintstones with the.
Yeah, with the feet.
Yabba dabba do.
Yeah, so like, all right, I want to backtrack because I feel like we just covered so much content so quickly there. No, you're fine. That's fine. So, from a young age, you got into drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And over the years through school, obviously, you mentioned that you had school wasn't your forte or your flavour. It wasn't my forte.
No, I dropped out when I was like in year 10.
Yeah, I dropped out in year 10 as well. It just didn't apply. I can totally relate, yeah? Like, the school system is, that could be a whole nother episode for another day. We could go so deep into that. But whilst you were going through that journey or that transition, if I'm reading this right, you turn to art as an outlet and you turn to gaming as an outlet, which is something that I think most gamers
A lot of people would do.
can
Yeah.
relate to. Yeah, that's like I especially in my younger years, I was very similar. I didn't fit into school well. I dropped out. I joined the workforce. I got an apprenticeship, and even though I had a job and it was cool, WoW was my passion. WoW was my outlet. That's who I was. Do you know what I mean? How did that help you in a positive manner is where I want to head with this. So talk to me a bit about the journey of that progression. So the band that stands here today, or sits here today, sorry, you're quite composed and you're quite professional, and some of the art we've seen is absolutely incredible. But from high school dropout to, you mentioned paranoid schizophrenia, that's like, talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah.
Go through the journey. What were some of the challenges? What were some of the battles you faced? You know, how did you get here from there? Because it's a polar change, yeah?
Yeah. Well, with my paranoid schizophrenia, it's a bit different for everyone, obviously. But I used to sort of see things that weren't there, hear sort of stuff. I used to think mailboxes talk to me in like demonic voices, which is a bit strange, but it is what it is. I didn't go outside for quite a few years.
Oh, it's amazing.
Absolutely terrified.
Wow.
Mailboxes.
Yeah.
One funny to laugh about.
That's actually so impressive. For Seb and I, we don't have paranoid schizophrenia, do you know what I mean? So that's such a crazy journey in itself. How did you get out of that?
My mum, she's a big part of the reason I got out of it.
Shout out to LJ, you're awesome. I know you're going to watch this, so you're great.
Mum is awesome, yes. She's my biggest supporter. But yeah, I don't know. It was a big part of my life. I do feel like I wouldn't be the person I am today without all that stuff, though, honestly.
Yeah. Character building.
I think most of us can say though, we've all gone through some sort of struggle to get to where we are in our lives. Man, you were talking about you leaving school at an early age. I mean, I've had my difficulties as well, but it makes you the person you are today. And obviously, meeting you now, you've come across as a really, impeccable guy who comes really resilient. And I think, in regards to the schizophrenia and the breakdowns you had, do you know what sort of triggered the breakdown back in high school? Is there a bit of a story with that, or was it just an accumulation of things?
I think an accumulation of things is probably hereditary. A lot of that sort of high-end sort of mental illnesses, but I think for me it was a bit of stress as well.
Okay.
It can be a trigger for it.
How old were you when it happened?
15, 16.
So when you left school.
Yeah. Just before I left school, that's part of the reason I actually left school.
Okay.
I just couldn't go.
Fair
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
But
So I didn't really enjoy school to begin with, so kind of worked out in a weird sort of
It was like a one up, one out sort of
Yeah.
situation.
yeah. I don't know.
And how did you take control of your I can't say it anymore. The schizophrenia. Like, how was there a process, or did you have people, like obviously your mum, shout out LJ, but did you have another support group around you? Was there something that, obviously animation and gaming, but tell us a bit more. Like,
So I've seen a psychiatrist, obviously, which is what I was diagnosed. I got diagnosed by a psychiatrist, so I've seen them. I was medicated for quite a few years. probably until I was about 30. So 3 years ago I stopped my medication, which is another story within a story. But in more recent times, I've been going to church a lot, and they've been really helpful, been super supportive.
Community.
Yeah.
Shout out to Enjoy Church at Melton.
And the gym, you're talking about.
Yeah, gym.
You're keeping fit,
Yeah.
healthy. I mean, that's a huge part of life.
Yeah.
I actually forced myself to go to the gym after I left my ex, which is another story. But
Heartbreak stories. We've all got them. We've all got them ones.
yeah, I said to myself, enough's enough. I was about 140 kilos, and I just forced myself to go every day. Pretty much, I went 3 days a week for months and months and months. Like the whole year, I lost about 35 kilos, give or take. Also, shout out to Anytime Fitness at Bacchus Marsh. They're all awesome.
It's the shout out show, guys.
I love that. That's great.
But
Yeah, I feel going to the gym is super important. Not even just like that, just walking. I walk to the gym, which is about 2 kilometers each way, so I've done that a lot. I actually walked for mental health last year in October. I done 187 kilometers over the month.
Well done,
Wow,
mate.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I raised about $800 too, so that was awesome. Yeah, I feel like getting out, talking to people, being active is very important, especially for a lot of gamers, because I feel like a lot just don't do that.
Oh, preach, mate.
Myself included at the time.
Just let Seb go here.
Mate. Oh. It's literally what we discuss on every occasion. Like anytime I live stream and talk to my community, it's about having the, separation from just gaming, but also actively being healthy. And you've hit the nail on the head. You're looking after yourself, you mentally, you physically, and then obviously with the church, you're looking after yourself spiritually. But you've got every base covered.
Yeah.
So you're doing the right things and you're giving yourself the opportunity to win at life, which is awesome, mate. Like, I'm proud of you, buddy. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
I love it. I love like I can relate so hard on the weight journey.
Yeah, you were saying, yeah.
So when I was growing up, when I was 18, 19, I at my heaviest weight when I was 19, before I made some changes, I was about 155 kilos, right? So I was a really, really big boy, yeah. And it's interesting because if I look back now and I go, what motivated me to do that? I don't know what it is. And it's kind of, I'm listening to your story and it's like that thing where you said enough's enough.
Yeah.
And something just snaps and changes in your brain.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said walking as well, because what I challenged myself to do is I said, enough's enough. I said, you can walk the lake.
Yep.
We have a local lake in town for those who's listening. It's 6 kilometre loop. And I said, you can do that 100 days in a row. What excuse could you possibly have not to walk the lake once a day?
For me,
100 days in a row?
I literally walked there day like it could have been raining. I walked in the rain.
Correct. Yeah, I did that too. Yeah. And
There was no excuses.
no excuses, no matter. I started in the middle of winter, right? And like
Ballarat winter.
like 3 degrees, and everyone's like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But it's the character building. It's the mentality you develop in that process, and then it almost empowers you more, doesn't it? Like you want to get deeper into it, and you want to try new things.
At this point, if I don't go to the gym, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to go. Like,
Oh,
I
you
feel
guilt
lazy.
yourself.
Yeah, I feel lazy. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
But isn't that like there's so many like things to talk on here, but going back to, as you said, you didn't want to leave the house. You couldn't leave the house for years. You walked 187 kilometers. I'm sure you didn't walk that in your house. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I done it all over Bacchus Marsh, so
that's phenomenal. And like, I'm just so fascinated as to how the health part of your journey, like how strong do you think that is linked to getting yourself from where you were to where you are now?
a big part of it.
Isn't it such a heavy
Yeah.
thing? And I think so many people need to hear that you can get so caught up. Like before I went on my weight loss journey, and I've been on it for 10 years or so now, or 8 years or so, and I wouldn't give it up for a second. It's one of my biggest I will be late to work because I have to train in the morning. That's how highly I rate walking my dog and training and having a breakfast or a healthy meal is the number one most important part of my day, right? But there's probably a lot of people out there, or some people that might be listening to this, that don't realize how powerful health and fitness can actually be. And we're two WoW players talking to each other right now, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The words health and fitness and World of Warcraft do not go in the same sentence, let's be real. But I think that needs to be just talked about more, is that you can be going through some crazy times and you can be having, you know, you've got an incredibly resilient story. I love how you use resilient, yeah. But there's all different levels of mental health challenges people are going through these days. It's crazy, and it's more paramount than ever, I believe. It's like an epidemic in society. Yeah. There's more people struggling more and more and more. And fitness is just this underlying answer.
Vitamin D, the sun, air, grass, like just nature. And you're saying you walked 187 kilometres.
Yeah, over the month, yeah.
You would have slept the best that month.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, like that's...
Yeah.
It's amazing, and that's I reckon that's been a huge thing for you.
Yeah.
Like losing weight, looking after your health.
Makes a big difference, not just physically, mentally too. Like,
Yes.
and as weird as it sounds, I never realized how beautiful, like, the outside world was. As a
Yes.
creative person, I never really seen it. But then, as I got out more, I started looking at like trees and be like, wow, that's like awesome.
And like walking in autumn?
Yeah, yeah.
Where like, especially
All
because
the
like,
leaves are
yeah,
falling,
in regional
yeah, it just
Victoria,
looks
yeah, I
amazing.
love that. And like all
Yeah.
the leaves, red leaves on the ground and stuff like that.
Yeah. Tev would know. He used to live at
Yeah,
Darley. He was-
I ran that the lap. You know where the Avenue Honour starts. I used to walk that lap with my dog and my kids all the time.
All about the autumn, and it looks lovely.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm trimming hedges there on Monday for Fruits of Life.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, so it's cool. From Ballarat, Backer Smash.
Home ground.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give someone who finds it hard to amalgamate in life and go outside?
Yeah.
And what would you say to those people and kids and sometimes adults watching this show today?
Probably just make an effort to make, even if it's like 10, 15 minutes every day, just do it consistently. And you'll find that you'll keep wanting to do it.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency is key.
You just read my mind. Consistency is key. And that, when I was walking the lake way back when, that was the one thing I kept saying to myself every day. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. Yeah. And I think not only does that, like that trait have so much to give people in the like health and fitness world, but also in life, right?
Yeah.
Like just show up every day. It doesn't matter what you do.
I found a few times where I just didn't want to go to the gym. Like I really didn't want to go.
No motivation.
I still went, and those were the days I got like my personal best. So consistency and actually showing up is paramount. Like,
But you're weeing the second you leave the house, mate. You know, there's days we don't want to do stuff, but as a man who you just got to do what you have to do, you know, and it's powerful in the sense that you got yourself out of one of the darkest places in your life, and you know, it's a really, really good story. And as I said, I'm proud of you, mate. But I guess now the next conversation is what's next and what are you doing with you? Let's look at some of these drawings. Let's look at some of these animations.
Let's talk about art.
Let's do it.
I think, hey, like, to segue into that as well, tell us how you believe that's affected your art, the quality of your art. And we're going to get some of the art on screen so everyone knows what we're talking about, and you can start showing us some of your pieces. But how are they interlinked? Bring the two together for us now. Do you think your art's better for it?
maybe in terms of like creativity.
Yeah.
Because playing a lot of WoW and the sort of pop culture sort of games like Sonic and whatever, sort of really inspired me because a lot of their art is awesome, obviously.
Yes.
So
Blizzard art's great.
Blizzard art is phenomenal. They always carry the games. The art team is the game basically these days. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it really sort of affected it in a way. In terms of maybe if I started sooner, I might be even better, if that makes sense. Like,
But does paranoid schizophrenia help with patience or with, like, I don't know much about it. So do you know what I mean? Like, you're seeing things that other people don't see or hear. Does that help with your imagination then? Does it help?
a little bit in a way, yeah. But in terms of like being organized and stuff like that, I have ADHD as well.
Okay, so not
Just a cherry on
OCD.
top.
Like, yeah, nah, in terms of organisation. But I think in a creative sort of way, it probably does help. Because I guess I'm seeing stuff that most people wouldn't.
In a way, I guess.
And you still do see things occasionally now?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah, you said you're sort of
Yeah,
off the medication
Yeah,
for the last
yeah.
3 years and you've
Yeah.
got it under control because your health is up and down.
yeah.
So-
I still might occasionally see something a bit odd, but it doesn't really linger. So
That's so good.
Sound like you got it under control
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
what I'm
phase
thinking.
you like it used to as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, okay.
So,
it's definitely not to the level of I was terrified to leave the house because of mailboxes.
No, but like,
I find it funny now, but at the time it wasn't. Trust me.
yeah, no, I couldn't imagine.
I'd be
this.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I was absolutely terrified.
And as you're a kid.
Yeah.
So you're
I was basically a kid. I was
You're
like 15,
maturing.
16. Yeah.
You go through puberty and you're growing and you know, all these changes and all of a sudden your mind is playing games with you.
Yeah. Well, my mind was playing against me basically. So
Yeah.
And being a kid's hard enough, to be honest. Like, there's a lot going on when you're a kid.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
respect. Just before we get into the art,
Yep.
respect needs to be paid, man. The fact you've gone from that place to this place, sitting on this couch today, as you said, you're a well-presented, resilient man.
Yeah.
And we're about to see some incredible art. Like,
I can't wait.
yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Show us some of
It's
your
so
stuff.
cool.
what would you like to see first?
You show us your
Show
art.
us, show us, talk to us. So, because we want the community to see the art as well.
Okay.
So, what do you pick one of your favourite pieces you have?
You know what I'd like to know? Sorry, and you can edit this if you want to, Lockie, but I'd love to see one of your first ones. And then sort of a journey of one of your latest ones so we can
Okay,
see
yeah,
the
yeah.
changes.
Early
Is
art.
that okay?
Yeah.
I don't have any first ones on here.
But I can.
Earlier ones?
Yeah, I can give it to Locke and
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
chuck
put it
some
on
of
the
your earlier
yeah,
art
yeah.
up on,
Okay.
yeah.
on the edit.
Yeah.
And then let's look at where we're at now. Show us your
Okay.
favourite art. And talk to us about why and why do you do this and
Your motivation.
This one's probably my favorite recently. It's for my book. I'm slowly writing. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to get the close-ups.
Oh, I didn't see. Yeah.
This is some Kung Fu Panda shit. This is great.
So,
This one's for my book. It's a sort of area inspired by Asia, obviously, being a bit Asian-esque.
We're going to have this in big format.
so your book, tell us about that.
So I slowly started writing last year. So it's always sort of had the idea, slowly been building up ideas about the world and whatnot. Heavily inspired by Tolkien.
I love it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of his earlier books and stuff. He done all the art for it as well. He done like the maps and
I didn't know that.
yeah, he drew all the stuff for it. He created languages for it.
Well, the language was on you because he created complete languages for a whole different species.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
Sorry,
there's-
I'm out of the loop on this one. What are we talking about?
Lord of the Rings,
Lord of
Tolkien.
the Rings.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
That's what I thought we were.
Yeah.
And I was like, is
Elvish
it the same?
and-
Yeah, okay, with you.
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I didn't read any of the books. I haven't read any of the Lord of the Rings books.
Oh.
I know. I'm shocking. I've watched all the movies.
And
I
the
love
show.
that. Get out, Jordan.
Oh, I've got all the.
I'm with you now. So you're basically making work.
Yeah,
Your own.
it's basically sort of what Tolkien done. He drew all the maps. He drew all the maps for his books. He done a lot of sort of the cover arts, and I'm sort of taking inspiration for that, but taking it to a whole nother level.
It is so good, and it's very like I think we talked about this off stream, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen this piece a few times now, and it has, for those World of Warcraft players, it
Yeah,
has
yeah.
that like Mist of Pandaria
Yeah,
vibe.
it's like-
Feel the influence.
Particular piece I wanted it to be because the area is very sort of mystical, sort of otherworldly almost
Yeah.
sort of vibe to it. So
How many hours did it take you to do this?
about 100, probably.
Casually.
Yeah,
The wood is amazing.
probably about 30-40k brush strokes, give or take, maybe more.
I've accidentally brushed some strokes on
Ah,
it, so you can fix that.
Oh, good.
You just said that it had 100 hours of input in there, and Seb comes along and goes scribble, scribble.
I didn't mean it.
He just wants to be in your book, mate. He's just trying to get it in. He's just, this is
Seb's touch.
this is Seb world.
Well, that's beautiful, mate, and I love that. So that's part of your book.
Yeah. So slowly been writing it. It's a bit sporadic at times because I have ADHD, so it's a bit like
And talk to me about how you work with that process, because we've spoken a little bit on this, but I
Yeah.
want to share it with everyone. So, when we were talking, you'd go from computer to iPad to this room to that room. Like, talk to me about that. How do you? What's your creative process?
So because I'm so hyperactive and I move around a lot, I find it hard to focus.
Like George.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm pretty sure Jordan has ADHD.
It's the most.
We actually had this chat before earlier. I'm like, I think I have ADHD too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. But anyway, a lot of sort of doctors say for people with ADHD, because our brain thinks very differently, sometimes a change of scenery will help focus. And I find it actually does with me. So I'll be like on the iPad, do some stuff in my bed or whatever on the couch, and then I'll move to my computer and draw there, and then go back and sort of move around a bit around the house. I could probably do it all on the iPad, but I find it easier for me to do like a complete scenery, like even the iPad to like computer screen. So I don't know, it can be a bit, if someone would look at me, they'll be like, what is this guy doing?
But it's your system.
It's your process.
Yeah. It's your system.
I don't think people would do that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think, look, the world's very judgy and people can be quite mean, but I think a lot of people can appreciate it
Yeah.
because it's art form. Like you look at Van Gogh, the way he used to paint was completely different to, I mean, I think he had schizophrenia. He cut his ear off, didn't he?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
so.
I think I've heard that
I
story.
mean,
too.
very talented people.
The sad thing about Van Gogh is he never realised how much people loved his art too.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say to you is don't worry about what other people think because I guarantee you most of them wouldn't think that. They'd probably be really inspired by it. You know?
I've gotten to a point where I just don't care what people think, honestly.
Brilliant. Preach.
We have
I used to
to.
be like that. I used to be like that a lot. I'd be like, worried. Oh, that person's looking at me strange. They might not like me. It's just like, they can look at me now. Like,
Go through those phases. Do you know what I mean? Like I think life is, except for exceptionally rare people, I think most people fall subject or victim to society's pressures and what they should be thinking and what they should be doing and how I should look and act and dress and walk and talk.
Yeah.
But then one of the challenges of life I think everyone goes through is getting to the other side of that, and some people never get to the other side of it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
But
right.
getting to that and realizing that run your own race, be your own person, your own creativity is amazing. And like, I feel like you're in that place now. Do you know, even you say your process is here and there, but it's your process. And if you look at the end result of what's coming out at the end of that, it's a great process. It works.
well, for me in particular, I think the ADHD actually is a benefit to me because a lot of people with ADHD hyperfocus, which is sort of like focusing on one particular thing and they can't stop until they finish it, which is what I do with some of these pieces. I'll just sit there for like 8-12 hours until I stop, like until I finish the piece.
Wow.
So it's like hyper focusing on the art. So
Until it's done.
yeah. So
What's the longest you've done that for? What's the most hyper focused you've been on a piece? Like hours of the night? Talk to me.
Like longest hours wise, probably about 40 hours, which I don't recommend.
Non-stop.
yeah.
How are you?
That's multiple days.
Yeah.
Eyes hanging out of your head.
Yeah, I would not recommend. I actually had to sort of stop myself doing that and sort of just limit it to like 8-12 hours and then sleep.
Yeah.
And then continue the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you work on one piece of art at a time, or do you have multiple ones you're working on? Obviously, the books in the background as well.
Because my brain's so like wired, like all over the place. I have to work on a lot of pieces. Yeah, like I'm on multiple pieces at a time.
All right, would you want to show us another one, mate?
Yeah.
This one, I sort of done just on a whim. It was sort of just a character I thought up randomly and done in about 8 hours.
Oh, it's me.
It is you.
Almost.
It's sad. With your cigar, your smoke, your mustache.
I'll get rid of the beard and just grow the mo.
I love this piece because it's going to bring me into my next talking point. But let's talk about glow effects for a second, right? So I know we're talking off camera and you're saying a year or two ago, you wanted to really get into understanding the glow effects. And if you look at this piece today, that's glowy, yeah?
It looks like an Apex character.
It's amazing, right? But if I'm presuming correctly, once upon a time, you could.
No,
You couldn't do that like that.
I couldn't do shadows. I couldn't do lighting.
How did you learn that? What pushed you to learn that? How did you apply yourself? You know, everyone has different processes, but that's amazing. How?
Dr. Disrespect.
A little bit, yeah. I've also been told it's similar to that character in I think it's Atlantis, the engineer guy. Yeah.
Half-Life?
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
We've got some off-cam input.
Jordan Freeman.
A little bit like Gorman, yeah.
Thank you, Malcolm.
As for what you were saying, first, I think the most important thing to sort of learn shadows and lighting is value. Like, value is a big part of art.
What do you mean value?
Uh,
I'm not an artist, so I want to know what value means.
values as in sort of like tones, like value tones, like white to black.
Yeah.
So you go through the value spectrum. So it's hard to sort of explain to a non-artist, I guess.
No, I'm
Oh,
kind
he's
of
talking
following.
down to us, mate.
I'm kind of
Non-artists.
Compared to that?
No.
Compared to that, man, we would have... Give us the crayons back.
There's the lipstick. Is that what
Yeah. I'll make it glow. But no, I get like colour.
Yeah. Sort of like color theory, but the other spectrum, like more value and tones. So there's like color theory and there's like black and white.
Yeah.
So
And so where shadows fall.
Yeah,
And like,
sort of like light and shadows, like the values of going between them.
no, I'm with you. And like highlighting and
Yeah,
depths
yeah.
and darks like that. And so understanding that side of art, because I
Yeah,
used
yeah.
to do. I got into like painting miniatures a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
when I was younger. I got into Warhammer and things like
Yeah,
that. And that I was lucky that I had a guy who taught me a lot about painting, and he
Yeah.
went, I couldn't paint as well as him, but what he started to teach me was depth, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, this is where you could, and he taught me to paint in white and black,
Yeah.
and so you basically you'd paint them on a white, and
Yeah.
then you'd apply the shadow where the shadow was, you'd leave the white where the highlight was,
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
get, is that value
Yeah,
tone
sort
you're
of,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah.
and then you'd apply the color
Yeah.
to that afterwards. So if you wanted a red robe and you wanted the dark recesses,
Yeah,
shadow,
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that.
So the sort of general concept is if you go from color back to black and white, you'll be able to sort of see the different of like saturations and
Yeah.
value. Like it will make sense in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to learn that? And how frustrating was it? You know, like, did it come easy? Did it come naturally?
I'd assume you'd still be learning though. You'd all
Yeah.
getting better.
Even like I am naturally sort of talented at it,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean I'm like just done. Like you can be naturally talented, but still have to practice. It's just
And it makes you better, would you
Yeah,
say? Yeah.
for sure.
I think art is a learned skill. You can be good at art even if you're not naturally talented. It'll just be easier for people that are.
Yeah.
It's all just practice and consistency. Again, like consistency.
We need to title this episode "Consistency is Key."
Yeah.
It's important to practice, no matter how good you are. Yeah.
Like you see really, really talented football, basketball players
Yeah, exactly.
who don't have the dedication to actually take it to the next level.
Yeah.
You know,
'cause
and-
they just don't practice enough.
Correct. Like you look at Ben Simmons, an NBA basketball player, has all the talent in the world, was touted to be the next LeBron James. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big sport person, and he's just been forgotten because he didn't put the work in.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And that's frustrating for someone like myself, and probably like yourself. We look at people who, well, not yourself, you're talented at what you love, but I was never the most talented person at anything, but I was a kid that practiced and
Yeah.
trained. And my big brother and I used to fight on the basketball and football and every sport you can think of. He was bigger than me. And one day I said, I've had enough. And I just started training. And then I was able to go play basketball in America. And I went and played, you know, VFL football. And, you know, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Dedication.
You got to put the work in, no matter how good you are.
Correct, yeah. So I can,
If you want to stay good, you got to keep going,
You
putting
do.
the work in. Yeah.
You gotta
yeah,
stay
it was
relevant.
practice.
Yeah.
And I teach that, like with any kids out there, it's a big thing. If you want to get good at something, practice and take the time to do it over and over and over again. And sometimes, like whether it's picking up a guitar or, you know, wanting to be the best Fortnite player or drawing or learning how to build PCs or anything, you got to practice it and you got to make sure you put the effort and time and consistent dedication into it. So that's huge.
And love failure.
Oh,
Yes.
Love
Except-
There is no bad failure. Like,
Correct.
every failure is good. You just got to learn from it.
How do you process failure in the art regard? Like what is it? I can't even. What is failure in the art sense? Like, you know, do you do something and you're like, is it your personal interpretation of it where you're just like, I don't like that? Is that, do you even consider that a fail, or is it just an opinion? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Do you have any you don't like?
All of them.
really?
That's an artist.
That's an artist thing, though. I think honestly, I think all my art it's like good, but it could be better. If that makes sense. Like, I see the flaws in it. I see all the flaws in my art.
Yes.
So Harrison Ford won't watch any of his movies.
Yeah.
Really?
Can't stand his own acting.
Wow. That's crazy.
And he's like one of the biggest actors in Star Wars.
Well-known actors too. He's like been in massive roles.
And he goes, I just don't like my acting. And there was another actor who said, I can't act. I just got away with being in movies.
I know Robert Pattinson's like that. He doesn't like his acting. And he's just recently been Batman, so...
And he doesn't like his acting?
And it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
We are our biggest critics, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
We can be quite harsh on ourselves with a lot of things.
For sure.
And I think some people can be a lot harsh on themselves than others. But if you can learn to let go and just accept sometimes that is enough.
I feel I've started to do that. Like, I still see the flaws, but it's gotten to a point where I'm like, it's good enough. I think people will like it. I'll just...
There has to be healthy limits on it, right?
Yeah,
that whole mindset.
Yeah.
Like, it's, when do you be kind to yourself?
Yeah.
But when do you push yourself?
Yeah.
And there's a driving force to that, not ever, like, always progressing something and not being happy with it. Like, I can talk in the sense of, I've been working on a website, right, for the last 24 months nearly. I think I'm up to my 6th iteration of it, and I think I like it at the moment, but I don't know if I like it. I definitely hated it up until this last iteration for sure. But at some point, you also have to draw that line in the sand and be like, well, you've put in the work. If you do a big night on web development or something, or drawing, for example, and it's 2 a.m. in the morning, you've worked full time all day, like, do you sit there at 2 a.m. and you beat yourself up, or do you find that ability to go, you've done good today?
I think I've started to sort of do that. I'll be like, if I'm not happy with it, I might work it on the next day or whenever. Sort of put it on back burner, like several projects in the works, as I said. But I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can be a bit too hard on yourself.
Yeah, 100%. So many people are way too hard on themselves.
Even as a talented sort of person, like...
But is that why you think you haven't released any of this, or you haven't tried to promote yourself because you are hard on yourself? Is that...
I think that's a huge part of it, yeah.
And you doubt yourself a little bit, or...
I did for quite a long time, yeah.
So
recently, it's sort of changed, obviously.
No. This is good.
Because I'm interested now on how we get this art out there. Like, I mean, I think as we're talking, we might have a few other different drawings come up so we can actually show them more, because we can't just keep staring at drawings all day. Talk more about the evolution of you now, mate. Like, why don't you have a Fiverr webpage selling your animations? Why aren't you on YouTube doing your streams and showing people how to draw? Because we've talked about off air before. But that's, I think, the next evolution is... Let's get that going for you, mate. So, do you have plans for that now?
I think I will start streaming, even if no one watches. It's whatever. Yeah.
But you're drawing anyway. So
Yeah. Like I said, I did try it once, and a lot of my WoW friends were like, "This is cool." Like, they've always known I was a bit of an artist, but they never really sort of realised how good I was.
There's a TikTok where this animator just draws, like people will send photos of themselves, and the TikTok person will turn them into a Disney princess or a Disney, and he's got 5 million view. Like, people love watching talent. I'm telling you, you set up a TikTok and do that sort of stuff. And again, we're Plus Gaming and my channel, Seb Tries Play. We're happy to promote you and help you and get people to see it, because at the end of the day, we can't have this lost to the world, you know.
Thanks.
And I think we need to just backtrack a second for anyone that's watching, because I don't know if we said that yet. For anyone that's watching right now, none of Jake's art has been released.
Not really. Just the 2 pieces or 3 pieces I've done for Jar Jar's at Bacchus Marsh.
Yeah, so there's a shop in Bacchus Marsh in
Yeah.
regional Victoria that has some great
Also,
artwork.
shout out to Roof up at Jar Jar's.
I got half a Funkos from you.
Yeah, he's an awesome bloke.
They're good guys.
But that is why this whole episode came about. I think we need to touch on that for a second. Is that when we met Jake and in gaming with what we do with Plus Gaming, we're very privileged that we get to meet lots of arty people and gamers and streamers and all sorts of great guys and girls. But you took our breath away. And I think that needs to be said, that your art, the quality of your art and your story and the fact that it's not in the world right now, that literally took our breath away. And I couldn't agree with Seb more. We need to get that out there, and we need to... You have something to give the world.
You should be
I think so,
animating for game developers. For
Yeah.
Correct. You should be working for Blizzard.
The Last of Us new show. You could do those sort of like those drawings and animations, and I think that's the next step in your evolution of your life, mate. I think you need to put I think you look like you're ready to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people willing to help.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah. Nice. I have a spicy one. Classic me. No, well, I've been wanting to interview an artist for a while. Yeah. And one of the questions I've wanted to talk about with an artist, we are currently mid-flight. This AI wave generation is everywhere. It's on the socials, ChatGPT, Midjourney, DALL-E, you name it, it's everywhere. Yeah. I have a few artist friends that have mixed opinions.
Yeah,
I guess.
I'm the same.
There's a lot of opinions in the community right now.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What's your 2 cents on it? Where do you see AI heading? How do you see it affecting you personally? Start there. Let's just start. They're 2 big enough points. Let's start there.
It's going to evolve very quickly. If left unchecked, I think it will be a problem for a lot of people, not just artists.
How so?
Well, at the moment, it's just sort of art and like voice, which is, I guess, technically an art in a way because it's using for songs, whatever. It'll get to a point where I think it'll be even like industry though, like AI-driven construction or something, you know?
Yeah.
People will lose jobs.
Yeah.
But in terms of art, I feel, as an artist myself, I can see this sort of benefit and the cons. I think if I train the AI on my own art, it could sort of speed up some processes.
Do you see some value in it? Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, it can just pop out an image that looks exactly like my art in like 5 seconds. So
It'd be scary.
Yeah,
It'd be a bit confronting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not an artist, so I don't know that. I know artists care deeply about their work and things like that, but it would be confronting. I think, like a bit like, whoa, okay, this is in my lane. This was my thing. Now this is popped in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was actually watching a video on YouTube about a Disney animator, Aaron Blaise, I think his name is. He was traditional 2D artist, done a lot of like The Lion King and stuff like that in 1994. And he sort of seen in a sort of positive way too. He could put already drawn art in with no shadows and stuff like that, and the AI would draw the shadows, so it'd sort of speed up his process in a way. From that aspect, I sort of see it as a positive thing, but there's also the other aspect where it's like being made redundant in a way.
But like,
Anything like, I think with AI and the art side, for the positive way you just said was amazing. Like I think if it's used for a positive, productive way, that should be.
Even like from a concept art sort of way, you could pop out like a few different
quick sketches.
quick sketches.
But if it's your own and you've got ownership of that, then I think it's amazing. But what I think, and it's going to be AI as a whole, is when they try and imitate other people, where it becomes this sort of grey area. Whereas is that yours or mine? Because you've done this part, but I've done. You know, and I think that's the part that's going to get nasty very quickly. What I find. What I'm afraid of, and I'm genuinely afraid of, because I listen to a lot of Elon Musk on and what he discusses, how they can impersonate us
Yeah.
with our voices. And
Yeah.
I'm on stream every day, and there are people out there that could literally impersonate what I say, make me say anything.
Yeah. I was
Or-
talking to Jordan about that earlier. Like
You know, all of a sudden,
court
That's
cases
so
and stuff
true.
that just someone said something, but they actually didn't.
correct. And how do you differentiate between real and AI? Because that's the part, and I've done a lot of research on this because it's huge, and I've got young kids, and I always try and talk about my children, and the reason I do anything is to protect them. So yeah, there's one side of the fence that yes, you want to copyright your own images, but to me, the bigger part of AI that's scary is the the fake persona of someone.
The deep fakes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
And I've never thought about it in the streaming sense.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get the voice impersonator.
Yeah, but when they start getting like deepfakes and stuff, even that like Tom Cruise deepfake,
Yeah,
like it's all
yeah.
memes and whatever now, but
It's real.
someone can do something extremely bad with it.
they've got President Trump, and they've got their lips moving, but he's saying things that someone else has put into AI. But it sounds like President Trump or Biden, or you can do anything. And defamation is huge, and people believe what they see.
Yeah,
You know,
that's the whole believe it until I see it sort of thing.
correct. And and you're guilty before. There's no longer you're innocent before being proven guilty.
you're
if they
guilty
say
after
you're
that.
guilty, you need to prove yourself as innocent. Well, hang on, I never said that. Well, there's a video
See it and hear it. Like,
that shows, and you're saying it. I'm like, I never said that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually crazy. And unless the person is deeply technically motivated to, which not everyone is, they're actually screwed. Like, I want to, yeah, I know. I want to go back to the positive light on it though, because I'm an advocate for I'm an advocate for technology, right? I've been in the technology industry such a long time. I do think there's so many parts.
I do think there are a lot of positive parts for it, for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's so many scary. It's such a mixed bag, right? But I think all in all, it's okay. And I love, you and I are big fans of Mr. Gary V. We get into it a
I
little
love
bit,
Gary.
right? And Gary V, this is his thing, so I'm going to reference him. I was watching a podcast on him the other day, and he goes, everyone's freaking out about AI and stuff, and he goes, I'm going to put this into a really simple perspective. And I heard, I was like, whoa. He goes, everyone had jobs, and then the tractor came along. He said everyone was happy farming. That's what everyone did.
Yeah.
Everyone was in the workforce, and then the tractor came along. And then
I think
the fields got done.
they'll
everyone
lose
had
jobs, but then they'll create jobs in a different aspect.
exactly
Yeah.
right. And that part,
AI technicians that repair the AI or whatever.
Exactly right. that excites me. Do you know what I mean? What's after this? Yeah, we're having the moment about it right now, and everyone's in the fatalist mentality a bit. There's two really big camps on AI. I think there's the embracers, and there's the fatalists, and there's people that kind of hang out in the grey in the middle as well. Yeah. But I think sorry about that. The future, a future with AI, is kind of exciting.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
It would make a lot of things easier for a lot of people, I think.
Correct.
I think Elon Musk has just been approved for FDA, or his Neuralink, whatever the thing is, which will help a lot of people, I think.
Have you looked much into the Neuralink stuff?
No, but I do know that it sort of helps with people like that can't walk and stuff. So yeah, they can actually walk with it, which is pretty awesome, really, when you think about it.
Because doesn't Elon want to build his own AI now?
So he wants to look at people's neurology and make, like, people have diseases that pretty much their brain and their brain stems are preventing them from being a normal, everyday functioning human. So he's looking at obviously helping people walk, and people with motor neuron disease or multiple sclerosis, or things where your body is literally attacking itself. That Neuralink is supposed to be something that he's looking at. They can go in there, they can help him with that. Yeah, correct. Which is, look, it's interesting and it's exciting, and if you can do it, I'm all for it. I'm an advocate. I'm sort of in the grey area. I think I see the positives, and I'm very wary of the negatives, but that's me being a parent. The parent side of me, I've got to look at both sides of the fence. I'm neither left or right. I'm very apolitical in a sense. I'll look at, if you're an idiot, you're an idiot to me. Do you know what I mean? But if you're a good person, I'll listen and I'll interact and I'll join you. But in regards to that side of things, if it can help people, I'm all for it. Like that makes sense to me. You know, let's make the world a better place.
Where do you? We're so digressing here. This is great though. But like, I don't have kids, right? So as a parent, that's such a good point. How do you prepare your kids for AI? How do you we're talking. When I was, say, Drew's age, right? Drew's 12,
Yep.
memory? Drew's 12. I could not go home and pull up ChatGPT and get my homework done in 3 minutes flat and then go straight back to game.
I had to go to the library.
Correct. I didn't do my homework. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, same. But if I wanted to do my homework, I went to the library.
We were off doing hood rat things. But as a parent, how do you prepare?
It's not my interview. It's easy.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. It's an interesting thing.
Look, Snapchat's been around for a long, long time, which all the kids are using nowadays. And my 14-year-old babe's on Snapchat every day. Discord's huge. So, I mean, yes, ChatGPT is a big thing at the moment, but it hasn't really been introduced in my household yet. We're a big advocate for our kids to take ownership of their own life and being good people. And if you want to, again, be good at something, you have to practice. Yeah. So there's no cheats in my household. So my kids do their homework. But we're also not the kind of people that preach that school is a be all and end all. Like, to me, if my kids aren't going to go to university and be doctors or an engineer, by year 10, I want them to have a trade. Yeah. I want them I want them to be able to get ahead in life, and I want them to be productive, good people in the world who can get ahead in life. So by the time they're in year 10, if they're not really wanting to go to university, which means they don't need to graduate high school, we'll get them a trade, whether it's a plumber or a chippy or electrician. And heck, if they were really good at, I don't care what it is, right? Let's do it. Because there's no point going further with schooling if you're really just going to be there to hang out with your mates and waste time. Yeah. Does that make sense? Fair. And two kids who obviously left school at an early, you're not kids anymore, but when you were kids.
I'm a kid sometimes as well.
I graduated high school, went to university for graphic design, and I used to draw and animate a lot in my 20s. But looking back on that, it was a waste of my time. Yeah. Because my personality and the way I am, I should have gone into a trade, but I should have also looked into media, and I should have... When YouTube came out, I should have started YouTube. I wish I had started when it first came out, because I would be in a different place today, but I'm on it now. But yeah, in regards to preparing my kids for... Because I've sort of gone on a tangent on my morals.
Yeah, but that's good though.
I don't... Look, it's got a place, I suppose, but it's not something I'm going to, readily advocate for in my household. Like, I don't want my kids to sit there and use it for the. And again, I've seen with my community the other side of ChatGPT where they use it for the nasty stuff. Yeah. And there's a lot of bad stuff happening out there, which I won't go into, but because of the people I hang out with, a lot of really cool kids and their parents, I talk to them now a lot more because of how we've built the community. It's can be very nasty, and the things that like they talk about other people, and then they share that on their feeds and they share it on Snapchat because Snapchat disappears after a bit of time. It never happened. So AI.
So
again,
it's spicy.
Everything's spicy.
It's a spicy topic.
In terms of AI for gaming, they recently sort of just had like a Chat GPT like NPC where the NPCs are sort of talking to you in real time as you're walking around the world. So they adjust on the fly sort of thing, which is like amazing. That's cool. That's like really cool for RPGs. Like they done like a Skyrim VR sort of thing where they went up to the bartender and be like, hey, who's this person over here? Like they look really cool. Like adventure sort of a person. They're like, and then he's like, oh, I see you've met blah, 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 blah. And they'll go on about the person and they'll be like, oh, who's that over there? Wow. Yeah, so there is definitely a lot of positive sort of, yeah. So from that sort of perspective, there is definitely a lot of, wow, that's cool. That would be amazing. But again, there's like,
I think it's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I just know, again, because, being a parent and I've got two kids I've got to look after and make sure they're protected from the world, because the world, as good and positive and
it can be
amazing,
a very scary place.
It can be. It's very nasty at times, and that's why I'm a huge advocate for, we've talked about mental health and your challenges, but you've got through that, and I think we're trying to get back to that now, in the sense that looking after yourself and looking after your little group of people.
Yep.
You've got a support group you said about earlier, and I think that's a huge part.
Yeah. Sorry to throw you on the bus there, mate.
I don't mind.
I think there's benefit in the sense that we talk a lot on this show, Jake, about youth and gaming and stigma and things like that. And I think AI is such. We've come from art to get to the AI subject. We'll go back to art in a second and Jake, but there's probably so many people out there where they're still struggling with how to limit and restrict Fortnite and deal with that in the youth of their kid, let alone a robot that can just outsmart everyone else around them. Do you know what I mean? So like I think your 2 cents has so much value, man, of like, you got to be careful. It's an interesting space, and it has pros, cool NPC things, but it also can...
Yeah, for sure.
Thing like that.
I just think community and parents have to be more involved in what their kids are doing.
Yeah.
More sort of proactive and sort of actually listening to what's going on and
Know what's going on.
yeah.
That's seriously all you need to know. All you need to do to protect your kid. And then if your kid does chat GPT and it's all good and above board, great. But I think today's day and age, unfortunately, there's a lot of
Curiosity.
no parent input.
Yeah.
And like in the world that we live in today, a lot of broken families and there's no dad's presence and it's huge issues in regards to kids get home from school and the mum's working 2 jobs or whatever and he or she's on a computer from 4:30 till midnight and they're influenced by
What they see on the internet, which can be either really good or really bad.
Yes, but...
Oh, trust me, it's, the majority of it is toxic.
Yeah.
And I think AI, hopefully, if they use it in the right way, can help some of these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at the positives. If it can help them, then great. Like anything, I'm up for anything that can help people.
For sure.
Same. Right. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, Jake. This has been a great chat.
Yeah, it's been good.
An incredible story, dude. You're incredibly talented. For those that are watching or part of the PG, I will announce that Plus Gaming and Jake have an exciting collaboration on the way that's going to come out soon. So we're going to get some of Jake's art out there in the world for everyone to be a part of. But before we wrap up today, if you could give any advice to young or old, not even youth, anyone, I don't think there is an age limit on art or anything like that. You've got so much value in the mental health space. You've got so much creative talent. What would you say to someone if they were A, an aspiring artist, or B, going through their own challenges in life? What are your words of wisdom?
There's a lot, but I think probably just never give up, ever. You can be like in a really bad place and try to give up, but I honestly would just say just don't. You can come from a very dark place and be thrusted into light, I guess. It's just all consistency and mindset.
I love that.
Oh, awesome.
I love that.
It's a great message.
It is.
No matter how hard it is, just don't give up.
Don't give up. And how about you, Seb? Have you got anything else you want to throw in?
No, I think it's been a very productive, very cool conversation. It's been nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too.
To hear about the collaboration between you two.
Yeah.
I think everyone will enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Jake's going to make me a Fortnite skin. We'll see whether he wants to. But yeah, get on Fiverr, get on the YouTube channel, and let's launch into the world.
Yeah. Should be good.
But, hey, use your own advice to yourself as well.
Yeah.
You're going to start on some pathways that you've never done before.
Yeah.
And
It's going to be hard, but
it's going to be, well, not hard, but it'll be lonely at the start because you won't have much. But once you get momentum, don't give up. Just keep going.
He's got us now.
Well, he does.
You're part of our community now, man.
You are, legend.
We are here to help. We're going to help you on that journey together. And yeah, I think, look, let's wrap it up here, guys. For anyone out there that's watching or have tuned in today's episode, if you have any comments, questions, or anything in the middle, chuck them below. We would absolutely love to hear your feedback. We're going to put Jake's email in this video, so if you're looking to partner with Jake or do any collaborations or just reach out to him, reach out to him directly or reach out to us at Plus Gaming, and we're more than happy to get.
I'm also on your Discord too.
He's also in the PG Discord as Ramnarok, so check that out as well.
You're welcome to DM me if you're on the Discord.
Yeah.
If you want to chat, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always up for a chat.
100%. If you want to collab or do some work or just get to know Jake better, then please reach out. Let's get everyone connected. And of course, as always, if anyone would like to be on the show, you're into gaming in any way, shape or form, as a streamer, artist, musician, you name it, we'd love to hear from you. Send us a message. Let's do an episode. Jake, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Seb, as always, it's a bloody pleasure.
I'm streaming Fortnite in about 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, and of course.
Oh,
go
no, I'm
check
not.
out
This isn't
Seb's-
live. Subscribe to Seb Tries to Play. I forgot it wasn't live. That would have been so good if it was.
That would have been great. That
Oh,
would have been
bloody
great.
Lockie's
But
laughing
yes,
at me.
moral of the story: like, sub, share. Thank you. It's how this shit grows.
See you
Get on
legends.
the Seb. See you guys.